Yo, peace, y'all. Back. A little purging of energies and stuff, you know. Took a little break. Uh, I listen to things that are smarter than me. So if it's time to take a break, take a break. All right. I've been putting a lot of time into things, even if it isn't these things like videos. You know, I got other creative endeavors I'm getting into, which I'm going to present to y'all, stuff like that. So bear with me. All right. Today, I want to talk about Satan. All right. And the misconceptions and the reality of what that is. Okay. So, Satan. Okay. A lot of people like to think of Satan as this horned beast thing, and the depiction is usually Baal or Baphomet, right? That isn't Satan. Okay. That's actually good. That's your powers. Okay. When it came to these Abrahamic religions and shit like that, they accepted certain gods and pantheons into their religions, and the ones they didn't, they kicked out and called demons and devils and all types of shit. And then called your ancestors demon worshippers and devil worshippers and all that shit. Just because they understood other energies. Okay? Other energies that one side's gonna call evil, yet they fucking killed your ancestors for this shit now, and they're saying it's good. Okay? And an example of this is the story of Jericho. They left it right in your face. The story of Jericho. The ancestors, a city, okay, where they didn't follow your rules of sins and evils and goods or none of that, okay? They followed strictly natural laws, okay? What they would call Kemetic laws, all right? Hermetic laws, okay? Natural laws, the laws of the universe, okay? And they went in there with their religion, okay, and with backing of their God, okay, and killed a whole fucking city, bro, okay, including animals and everything, okay? And then that's their God that's good, and anything that isn't with that is evil, okay? Including the golden calf, which is the same thing as the Baal, all right, and the Baphomet, okay, which is just them, which is just the oldest religion, which was worshiping females, okay, specifically the black female, okay, Hathor, okay, the horns, that's Hathor, okay, and with the goat head and shit like that, that represents the wombs and the ovaries and shit like that. That's all symbolism, okay? Symbolism that they're spooking you out of, okay? And the whole thing in itself is just a representation of energy, okay? Because that's what all these shits are, okay? So when you look at King Solomon's motherfucking demonic motherfucking sigils, those are powers and energies inside you, just like there's 72 other ones, which they would call light. The 144, which are just energies inside of you, okay? So, I'm sorry, Collective, there's no 144,000 motherfucking special people that's gonna come here and save the fucking earth, okay? That number is very vague and limited, and if you talk about 144,000 throughout motherfucking time, then how you even know there's one now? And you talk about hundreds of thousands, there's a lot of light workers out here, okay? It's more than that, all right? These are energies inside you, okay? But they try and scare you out that shit, all right? Tell you that's Satan, okay? Satan is the creator of this realm. Satan created this realm, okay? That's the lower deity that is a male that designed this universe, okay? Which in the Gnostic text they'll call the demiurge, right? Which will be depicted as Saturn, right? Which is the original Helios, right? When you talk about the two suns and shit like that. People have been depicting this shit for a long time, okay? And Yoruba, they call him Obatala, okay? There's higher energies, but Yoruba, Obatala is the actual source, okay? And this shit, they talking about the lower deity that created this realm, okay? And archetype this shit, all right? Because he was motherfucking tired of the chaos, right, which ensued, which was pure motherfucking our energy, our original motherfucking energy, all right, that sea of motherfucking chaos which we swirled in, which our souls motherfucking originally come from, okay? And that was through the motherfucking wind, the etheric motherfucking winds of the astral planes that could take you through different motherfucking dimensions and shit. Okay, and you could whirl through that shit. And since you're above time and shit, alright, it's not like it takes this long to get here or none of that shit. Alright, spirits aren't worried about time and shit like that, alright, or space and shit like that. They're beyond these things. Alright. Satan is the creator of this realm, alright? And deeper than that, Satan could be depicted as your lower self. Okay? So there's energies and motherfucking vibrations and frequencies, right? And Satan is the lower frequency, okay? So that's the lowest version of yourself, okay? So the most wickedest motherfucking, most fucking lowest vibrational you is Satan, okay? Which in the fucking coin of life, that's just one side. So it's necessary within this realm because that's what was architected and designed, okay? And since Satan isn't a perfect being, this isn't a perfect realm, okay? And other beings took over and shit like that, all right? And they trapped souls within this realm, okay? And lower realms, all right? And Satan sits right above us, okay? On the other realm, right? Because God sits above us on this emerald throne and all that shit. So Satan is above us on the above fucking realm, right? Right above us, 4D and shit like that, okay? So when CERN and that particle collider is talking about, they're talking to interdimensional beings and shit like that. That's who they're talking to, okay? They want to talk to the lower frequencies like the elves and shit like that, okay? Because they have control of many portals around this motherfucking realm, okay? And they use remote viewers and other people like that who are gifted, and they fucking use them, right? To go through these portals and shit like that, okay? And communicate with beings and take over civilizations or gain motherfucking knowledge and shit like that, okay? This has been happening. And there's CIA documents from motherfucking... You got the Russian shit, you got American shit, you got a lot of shit. Okay, there's been a lot of communications going on, even with Germany and Hitler and shit like that, and him going down to Antarctica and all that shit. Okay, there's been communications for a long time. Okay, motherfucking Muslim countries accusing Israel and America of talking to aliens and the galactic federations and shit like that. Okay, so what is all this shit that's going on? There's beings working for the lower energies, and there's beings working for the higher energies, all right? And people like starseeds, light workers, shit like that are working for the higher energies, all right? And there's other beings and other dimensions working for these energies too, okay? This isn't the only dimension, okay? There's other realms with different existence, okay? And the only thing that dictates time here in this realm are the celestial bodies, okay? So all the other realms aren't dictated by time. Okay? That means you can access them right now. Okay? And it's not like they're busy. Okay? Because they're doing shit in every moment because there's no motherfucking time. So everything happened already, and everything that's going to happen, they have every conception of what the fuck is going to happen. Okay? And a lot of people are talking about, oh, well, these are just metaphors by our motherfucking ancestors and shit. And there's no motherfucking higher spirits. And it was just the ether that created all this shit. So when they talking about these pantheons, these are just, no. All right. The science behind this shit is you have to disturb or vibrate the fucking ether to create these motherfucking fields. So you have to throw a rock in the pond to create the motherfucking waves, okay? That's the disturbance, all right? The rock, okay? The rocks. Where did the rocks come from? Those, whoever motherfucking created the vibrations, okay? So that's what the ancestors talking about. The universe got sung into existence, okay? They're not just explaining the vibration that created this shit. They're explaining that something created the vibration. That's why it's being sung into existence, okay? That's the key to the fucking parable. Alright? Because, I'm not gonna lie, I was talking to someone and he was trying to say that, knowledge is a bad thing. And I see how a lot of human ego gets in the way of a lot of motherfucking knowledge. But from the moment you're motherfucking born, you learn as you're growing. Like, the whole point of this existence is to grow and learn, all right? Because Earth is a school. So knowledge isn't bad, okay? They want you to think knowledge is bad, all right? That's the whole point with the snake story, okay? The serpent, all right? As soon as we got knowledge, their God fucked them up. Okay? And that's the point of this shit. They want to scare people away from knowing. Because once you have knowledge and wisdom, you can't be a slave. It's not possible. Alright? And that's what they want. They want people to run their motherfucking machinery and shit like that. That's why they created the incubator babies in the first place. Okay? And they mud flooded societies. Okay? And they re-motherfucking populated areas. Okay? So that they can have this fucking structure the way it is now. Alright? But one thing they couldn't stop or create is soul. They can't create it. Okay? They need soulless beings to run this shit. Alright? But they can't recreate the soul. Our souls chose to fucking enter these bodies. Alright? And our soul enters our motherfucking avatar through our umbilical cord. Okay? So your soul is in your mother first. Then it enters your being through the umbilical cord. Okay? Which is why they cut it off and they don't let it fall off naturally. Alright? Because there's still motherfucking ancient wisdom and DNA in that shit. Alright? And that's why they take it and they do experiments on that shit. Okay? Because they're trying to recreate the motherfucking soul. Alright? How does the soul enter the body? Through the umbilical cord. Okay? When you astral travel, where's that rope connected? To your motherfucking umbilical cord. Alright? That's like to your belly button. Okay? It's like an umbilical cord. Alright? And when you travel, that's what the fuck keeps you attached. Alright? Because that's where the motherfucking information is being motherfucking sent to your body. Okay? So all the shit you learn in your light body when you astral traveling through the realm, okay, all that information is getting sent through that motherfucking rope to your physical body. Okay? To your DNA so you can access that shit. Alright? Later. Through motherfucking signs. Alright? And then fucking deja vu and shit like that. Alright? You remember these events. Okay? And that's how it motherfucking gets transferred. That's how your whole soul gets transferred into your body through the motherfucking umbilical cord. Alright? They want to talk about that. Okay? Because you're swimming in ancient DNA inside that motherfucking womb. Alright? That shit worth a lot of money. The whole concept of money is just made civilization evil, bro. Alright? And it's deeper than that because that's what they built this shit all upon anyway. Alright? So that shit would have existed regardless. That's the whole reason beings are here. Like this now. The human beings, we wouldn't exist without these motherfuckers creating us. That's why they want us to worship them and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? But real shit, I'm a fucking soul first. So, people trying to belittle a motherfucker or say, oh, you have to do this or that. I'm a soul first. You're gonna respect me. It don't matter if you're my motherfucking grandma. You finna respect me. I love you, grandma. Yo, my grandma's the best too. She G as fuck, man. Like, man. And she got so sweet when she's old now. She the sweetest. But yo, seriously, on the serious tip, y'all, I had some downloads too the other day. Okay. So, you know how in Samaria, right, they got gods, right, deities, pantheons with elephant heads and shit, or elephant pantheons, right, just like the Hindus, right, in India, You know, they got whole motherfucking, they got whole temples with carvings and shit like that in it, right? Big ass structures, shit like that. All right, and I already went through the download of elephants are aliens. So elephants here, those shits, their consciousness comes from a fucking portal from Alpha Centauri somewhere else, bro. They come from somewhere else, okay? Deeper than that, every creature was created here on this realm, okay? Because they cultivated the earth and all that shit. So everything was created, all right? And some of them actually are consciousness from other motherfucking realms and shit like that, all right? Because nothing's new under this shit, and they're not creative like that, all right? So a lot of this shit they seen already, like the Lyrians, that's how they're able to make motherfucking lions. They already seen that shit, all right? So, in Prometheus, right? The aliens, right? The ones that was warriors, right? And the ones that would travel in spaceships and shit like that, they would wear motherfucking biosuits, alright? And the biosuits had what? A motherfucking elephant head. So when motherfuckers landed here, that was their suits. And that's what they're paying tribute to. These motherfucking beings that landed here. But that's how they originally depicted them. Okay? That's how they were able to make motherfucking elephants. Okay? Then transfer consciousness. Alright, y'all? And then deeper than that, there's temples in motherfucking India that got elephants with the 4 tusks. With humans riding on them. Shit that was supposed to be extinct and shit. They was making these shits and then they mud flooded, right? The motherfucking flood, okay? And shit got motherfucking petrified, okay? So a lot of motherfucking, I forgot the name of that shit. There's this temple in India that got freaking animals that are extinct and got humans right next to them, all right? And they didn't have no internet or none of that, okay? And people could be, they dug up fossils and shit like that. They have people writing them shits, all right? Shit like that. Y'all need to check that out, okay? And that's deeper wisdom because in the Hindu shit, they got gods with elephant heads, okay? And they are lower deities, okay? They're not the creators, all right? The children of, okay? The children from the stars, all right? The heavens. That's what the ancestors seen. Some of them seen beings come from the sky. Others seen beings come from the fucking earth. Come inside the earth, out. Okay? So this shit kind of fucking went left, from where I wanted to go with Satan and shit like that. But listen, y'all. Satan is you and me and anyone. Anyone could be Satan. Okay? Satan's just an energy that exists. Okay? And as a master magician, what you should do is harness energy and use it for what feels right within your heart. Okay? So, they're gonna make you scared of shit that actually belongs to your ancestors. So when they tell you about Satan, remember how they flipped the map. Alright? So there is a Satan. And it is bad. And then there's the Satan that they present you, which isn't bad. Which creates this conflict for people who are trying to, represent that deity, right? And then, they sensationalize shit, right? And then, people want to wear a pentagram, and then people want to get scared. And it's like, the pentagram is just the best symbol. It's like the most powerful symbol to, manifest shit here on this realm. So, if you want to manifest some shit, you motherfucking make a pentagram, bro. It's going to work. But they scare you out of this shit. And a lot of the time, people don't have good intentions doing shit anyway. The way we're brought up in society and shit like that. So, some power probably isn't good for people to know anyway. But, there's workers out here, people like me, other people who are here to give the knowledge in a very respectable and intelligent way. And people have to motherfucking be advised and warned, because with power comes responsibility, y'all. So my mouth kind of dry, as y'all can see. I don't know if you can see, but I can see just my behavior on the fucking camera. Anyway, that's gonna wrap that up for now. You know, a few little downloads. You know, I missed y'all. You know, I missed talking. You know, I had to break a lot of walls these last few weeks and shit in my mind and my life. I really had to fucking purge some energies and shit like that. I had to change some things up. You know, I have like become a higher version of myself, and a lot of the things that I was enjoying like just a month ago, 2 months ago, you know, it felt draining on me. And I was questioning things, you know, because I have so many creative endeavors right now that I'm trying to dive into all at once, and I'm doing it me, you know. And of course I got help and shit like that, you know, little bits. You know, also people who want to put me on their channels and stuff, y'all, I appreciate y'all for everybody who's reached out, you know, and wanting to collab and stuff. Like, I really appreciate it. I don't have much of an audience right now, you know, for people to want to gain anything off of that, you know. So that's really out of, you know, love, and I appreciate that, you know. So thank you. And I've really figured out that this whole little energy cycle was all meant for something, right? Because that's what everything is. You know, you go through things, you're supposed to learn and shit like that. But in the moment, you know, my human mind questions shit, and spirits really, you know, calm me. You know, I appreciate it. Anyone who's not tuned into their ancestors, you know, I don't sell motherfucking step-by-step courses on how the fuck to do it. You know, if you run through my content and you still don't have an understanding, you know, you could message me, and we could talk about it. You know, I'm not selling shit here, so I don't have this step-by-step motherfucking course on how to do shit. You know, this is all inner fucking work. You know, you gotta fucking break the walls in your mind to your old memories and do that shit yourself. You know, you gotta wake up and do shit. You gotta do certain shit. So a lot of this shit's on you, and I'm just here to remind people of their power. And sometimes you gotta seek shit out yourself, you know. And the fact that I'm saying it, you know, fact check it and shit like that. That's the shit that I bring. You know, I'll say shit, and sometimes I go off on a rant and shit like that, and I'll say shit, I want to explain it. But, you know, if you go do some research and beyond Google, you know, use motherfucking search engines like Yandex, and use different shit where you could access more information. Y'all gonna see that, yo, listen, unless it's one of my downloads that you ain't gonna find it nowhere, a lot of the shit I'm saying is out there. All right, there's plenty of information. Okay, there's people selling courses, which I'm not gonna hate on the next motherfucker. I'm not gonna tell you to not buy it, but I'm just saying, I'm serving as an example to show people that they could do things themselves without having to spend $1 million or having to spend motherfucking their life as a motherfucking slave and stressing over little things, you know. And the hardest part is the fake, so I get it. You know, not a lot of people could walk this journey I'm walking, and I'm not the only one, you know, but I'm treading a path that not a lot of people tread, okay? And it's not up to you to walk my path, all right? It's up to you to walk your own path, all right? So learn through my mistakes and learn through other people's mistakes, because that's where the wisdom comes from. It comes from these experiences I went through, and the collective has went through, and other people, these teachers who are out there, you know, and they're just trying to help people, you know, either level up or just avoid certain obstacles, you know, or bring knowledge that's going to help you in your life. Because a lot of knowledge you was taught has not motherfucking served your purpose of your soul. Even if it's served the purpose of your physical body here in this motherfucking realm. This realm isn't all that matters. If anything, it's a very motherfucking small fraction of what actually exists beyond and after. Okay, and if you don't remember these things and shit, and you don't work on that, okay, you're not gonna level up to the next realm, okay, which might seem scary to people because people get attached to this realm, okay, but I can't teach y'all how to not get attached, how to not get attached, how to get detached. Okay, I can't teach y'all that. Okay, it's something you have to find within yourself. Okay, but you can learn it through other people. Goddamn, what the fuck? All right. Anyway, y'all, I'm gonna go get some freaking water. You know, filtered water. Thank goodness, y'all. Peace. I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to talk to y'all. Take care of yourselves. You know, keep doing all the good shit y'all doing. I see a lot of people doing a lot of good shit, okay? I get up here complaining sometimes, but really people are doing good shit. I'm just here to motherfucking keep that spark, that fire, whatever motherfuckers need to hear on that day, I'm just here to provide that. So, yeah, peace.